So check this out. Well, got another honeydew. It's just one of those things. She's been doing quite a bit of sewing lately, and she told me that she went into one of her drawers that she keeps her thread in, and apparently other people have been in there too, grandkids maybe. But her thread's all jumbled up, and there's some tangles in some of the spools because she's always kept everything nice and neat. It's not nice and neat anymore. And she said, I saw a thread rack the other day, and it was nice and all, but I want one that I can mount on the wall behind the sewing machine. I want it to be able to hold my spools of thread, big ones, little ones. And I said, okay, let me see what I can do. And I looked around and I found some plans, and I didn't really like any of them. One calls for using baseboard cord around and nailing them to a couple of uprights so you can stick the dowels at an angle. 1/4-inch dowel is all you need. And I didn't like those. I thought they looked kind of cheesy, and I don't use pine. And if I'm not going to use pine, if I'm going to use a good quality hardwood, then I want to make it nice. So I've designed my own. So I found these plans. This holds 54 spools. It is 16.3 inches wide, 12.5 inches tall. I'm not going to make it like that either. That uses wood in the middle that's pulled at an angle, and I just don't think it looks very good. But I used it for the basis of what I'm going to come up with. I'm going to have 2 styles in the back, and I'll hang it on the wall using a French cleat. But I'll have 2 styles in the back. It's going to be 15 inches wide, 16.5 inches tall. Each row holds 10, and there's 8 rows. So it'll hold 80, and it's only a little bit bigger. What am I going to use? I'm going to use a bunch of this scrap Sepo, also called African mahogany. And the reason they call it African mahogany, if you can look at this and look at the, I don't know if you can see, yeah you can. See that in mahogany there's a mahogany called ribbon mahogany. And you can see that ribbon effect in this Sepo. And that looks pretty cool. So it's really pretty wood. I won't need to stain it. I'll just put some finish on it. So let's get at it. I gotta mill some pieces. I need 8 pieces, 15 inches long, 3/4 of an inch wide. I've got my 8 styles. So now what I need to do is cut these to length and mark my spots for my dowels to go. And then I will drill those out at the drill press. So I'll drill these about 1/2 inch deep. Then what I'm going to do is bring these back over here to the table saw, set the fence at 45 degrees, and cut off about 1/4 of an inch so that these will sit flat this way on that 45 I cut, and I'll have my dowels sticking out at an angle. These are the pieces for my 2 uprights, my 2 great styles. I'll also cut these to 16.5. But I need to rip these to the same width. What that width is doesn't really matter as long as they're the same. So I'm going to take them to 1.5 inches. Perfect. according to my 15-inch story stick, I come in 3/4 on each end and then mark every 1.5 inches. Now, if I wanted all of these absolutely perfect, I would make a jig for my drill press, but close enough is close enough. Again, this isn't rocket surgery. Now I'll go over to the drill press and I'll set it up to only cut about, I don't know, between 3/8 and a 1/2 inch depth, and I will get all these drilled and I'll come back. I used a good brad point bit, 1/4 inch, and as you can see, there's a lot of fluff at the top. This CPO is brittle stuff, not quite as brittle as ash juniper, but it's brittle and it likes to splinter. I'll get these sanded up good before I bring it back over here to cut the 1/4 inch off the back. I'll put the dowel holes up because my blade tilts this way, and I'll cut a little bit off of the back. That way they'll sit like this. That's all of them. A little bit more sanding. We'll do one more thing before I call it quits for the night. I'm going to set this blade to 30 degrees. I'll come back tomorrow morning, do a quick sand on this part that I just cut off, and we will start assembling this. My story stick has me putting these about every 2 1/4 inches, so this is pretty close. It's not exact, but it's kind of close. You get the idea. Got a last minute design change. I got my French cleat made that will go between these two rails here, and I made another style to go down at the bottom in between these. Now I need to round the edges and sand them up. And I thought all the sanding was done. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to use pocket holes on the back side of these two pieces just to put it together. So when you're designing on the fly, things happen, design change, etc. But it's no big deal. Hopefully it stayed square. It looks like it did based on those. Check it in the square. It's square. So I need to make this just a hair shorter so that it doesn't fight when I hang this on the wall. So I can shave about a 32nd of an inch off. That's already. I'm just doing a rough layout using my story stick to figure out where these are going to go. I want to glue these on, but I also want to make sure that they're relatively secure. So I may put a screw on the back side. I'm just talking to you and talking to you, and guess what? I didn't hit record. So now, I'm going to set these aside. I took some thick CA Starbond Premium Superglue. Click the link below. You'll get 20% off your order. You don't have to enter a code, just click the link. So I put a drop of CA, thick CA, on each side of this. Sprayed this piece with activator. Did the same thing up here and stuck them down. So right now what I want to do, just to make sure everything stays in place, so I'm going to turn these over and I'm going to pop me a line, a mark where I want that screw. See, no risk of splitting it that way. Do the same thing over here. Gotta be a little careful here because of my marks. I want these as even as possible. So right there, right there, and so on. Alrighty, turn these toward me. Really, most people would just glue those with wood glue and leave it be. I know, most people would. But, you know me, I over-engineer everything. And that's done. That looks pretty good if I do say so myself. What do y'all think? I know it's not done yet, but it's a Rankins on a thread rack. Only thing left to do now is glue the dowels in and put the finish on. Now for these I am going to use wood glue. I really don't need to, honestly, because these things are tight. Okay, so here it is finished, except for the finish. It'll hang on the wall on this French cleat. Now it's time to spray the finish on. I'm going to use semi-gloss lacquer. I think 2 or 3 coats should be enough. I basically just want to get back just a little bit of picture. I really don't need anything on the back side. I'll let that dry a half hour and I'll repeat the process. Then I will turn it over and do the front, and I will do this piece as well because this will be seen. And when it's all done, I'll come back. So here it is, all done. A couple of coats of semi-gloss deft lacquer on it. I think that's more than sufficient. I think she's really going to like it. This is gonna hang on the wall behind her sewing machine. Hanging it with a French cleat, this one, and it's already drilled. So all I have to do is hang the French cleat on the wall and hang this on the French cleat, and that'll work. I think she's gonna like it.